Oops, that was test 2. Test 2. Okay, this was our project 3. And basically, I'm going to read the problem, so we'll see what we're doing here. The RSC bookstore is having a 3-day sale during which the price of any unsold t-shirt drops 15% each day. For example, t-shirt that costs $15 on the first day costs 15% less, or $12.75 on the second day. And on the third day, the same item is 15% less than $12.75, or $10.84. Design a Python script that will read in a text file with 5 different t-shirt prices. Output is the price of each item on each day, 1 through 3. Print the original price and then the price on the second and third days. So what basically you'll do is read the file t-shirtprices.txt into an array and then use a loop to read each element and print the 3 prices. So what most students in my online class made it a little more complicated than what it was. And some of them created their own text file, which it worked. It was okay. But what I really want you to do is do exactly what was in the problem, which was really simple. You were just to read in that file, and it even tells you how many data items are in it. But what I always like to do first is to look at my actual text file and make sure that it's what I think it is. So I'm going to look here at t-shirt prices, and I can see there that it does have 5 elements. So I'm not going to need a line split method on here because it's just 1 element each line. So it is a float number, so I may want to read it in as a float, or I can do it different ways. So now what I also told students that we could do on this one, and actually on the test 2, when I ask you for pseudocode, if you choose that over a flowchart, what we're doing is actually pseudocoding with comments to our Python script, so that you'll see in here what I did, and you can choose to do that during the test problem too. So here's what we did for that problem. First of all, this is going to be like the pseudocode. It's the comments in the Python. And that was something that you learned in Chapter 6, which most of you already knew how to comment anyway because we learned it in Codecademy. But first thing we want to do is set up an array to hold the elements. So that's what this is. I called my array original price. And you can tell that I initialized it as an array because it has the square brackets. Then my comment says I opened the file, opening the file. And so I named the file when I opened it is t-shirt prices. And this is the actual name of the text file that I just looked at. So just like we did it in chapter, I don't know, we've opened a file, I think, in chapter 4 is when we started doing that. So we open the file and read it into this variable called t-shirt prices. Then I'm using a for loop here to read the file. So I say for price, and this is just a variable. You know, in the past we've said for line in whatever the file name was. It doesn't matter. You can name this whatever you so please as long as it's not a keyword. So I just chose price, so I'm saying for price in t-shirt prices. So this is the name of the variable that I used up here. Okay, everybody with me so far? If you have a question, let me know. So next, what we are doing, because we didn't need to split it, we just need to append each element as we read it in to the array called original price. So I'm using original price dot append, and what I'm appending is the floated value of price. So it appends the file elements to an array. That's my comment pseudocode there. After I get that array in that loop built, when it gets to the last one, it'll fall out, and then it will do the close on the file. Now, here's what most students didn't remember to do on their while loop, or a student I worked with earlier today, was that no matter what while loop you're using, if it's a counted while loop incremented by a specific number of times, which, how do I know that it's 5? You can unmute and tell me. How do I know that I'm going to go through the loop 5 times? Anybody tell me? Everybody still there?
It's because you've got 5 data items.
Very good. Okay, 5 data items, and I was told that in my actual problem. So that's how I know. I could also later on, if I didn't know how many data items was in a file, other than opening it and counting it, I could also, there's a method where it will give you the length of the file. But for this problem and for what I would ask in the test, you can just use this to control how many times you're going to go through the loop. So that's why I just set up a variable called count. You can use any, there again, you can use any name you want it. If you want it to be index, CTR counter, anything. But I just named it count, and I initialize it to 0 before I go in the loop. Because remember, when we build an array, what position is the first element in?
Position 0.
Correct. Position 0. So a 5-element array would be in position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if I initialize it at 0, and I say while count is less than 5, so the first time through count's going to be 0. I will want to print, and this is just what I'm printing out, original price, and then I'm formatting it with a 0.2 float, and here's my placeholder, and then I say original price sub count. So the position in the array is the 0 position. So it's going to print out the $15 first. Then I need to calculate what the discount for day 2 would be and print it out. Then calculate the discount for day 3 and print it out. And the very last thing I do at the bottom of the loop is to increment my counter by 1. So when I do that, now count is 1. 1 is still less than 5. So it prints out the first position in the array, calculates, and it's going to do that until count is 6. When count is 6, it'll come up here and fall out of the loop. Okay? Anybody have any questions about how that worked? That's pretty straightforward. We didn't do any functions, and we didn't do any modules this time. I'm probably not, I won't require that in the test. After the test in Chapter 6 is where we talk about modular programming, and so we're going to take this project and some other projects that we've done, and we're going to actually create modules within them. But for the test, you can just write it straight out like this one is, and you should have a problem similar to this. It shouldn't require you to do anything but read elements into an array, open a file, create the array, close the file, and then a loop that will process data. Okay? So let's run it and make sure it runs here. And there it is. It's not very pretty, but it says original price $15, day 2 price $12.75, day 3 price $10.84. So that does match what I told you in the problem your first set of answers should be. So I'm going to assume that the next set are also correct. Okay. So I would, for the test then, I could either strip this comments out and make it in a separate document as my pseudocode, or if I heavily count, see, I would go ahead, I didn't finish actually commenting this because I should comment these how I did those calculations too. Okay, so that would be explaining what this Python does. Sometimes you want to do the pseudocode. You really normally do the pseudocode or flowchart first and then write the Python. It's just that with scripting, it's so close to actual pseudocode with the exception of having to format. You don't do that kind of thing in your pseudocode, but it's still, the script itself is pretty straightforward to how that project should be solved. Okay, so does anybody want me to open theirs up and see how you did yours and if you got it running, or if you didn't and you want to see how to make it run? Any one of y'all want to do that? Go back up here so I can. Let's see, John. Will this hangout be recorded for replay? Yes. I'm recording it right now, so you'll be able to replay it. I hope. I thought I did that Tuesday, and for some reason it quit just a little bit in. So hopefully you'll be able to do that. So does anyone have one that they did a little different, Aaron? Or
I did mine different. I made an array for each day.
Okay. Let me take a look at yours then, and we'll see. Let me go over here, my Google Drive. That was Brian, right? Or Aaron?
That was me.
Brian?
Yes, Brian.
Okay. That's in Project 3. There it is. Let's see. All right, so let's look how he did it. Okay, so you open the file, encoding with UTF-8. That's one of the things that in class we talked about. That's one way to make sure. Were you having trouble with it, with the encoding?
No, I wasn't. I just remember that from before.
Okay. So then we have the array shirts, 4-line in, t-shirt data, shirts.append. Okay, that's fine. That's just like what I did. And then you print it out. Does this one run?
Yes, I did. I think I left that line in there. I was testing it. I forgot to delete that part.
That's a good idea to test. That's what I did earlier today. Or the day that I created that program, is I would do this part and then I would make sure it ran. Okay, then you've got an array for day 1 and an array for day 2. Now, how did you do that? Day 2 is item. Okay, you're reading the array each time. So, yeah, I see what you're doing. So you're reading the array, setting up an empty array each time. Okay, that's interesting. That works. So if everybody sees what he did, he created an array just like he did up here each time. So he, day 1, he just read each one into the day 1. Then day 2, he had to take the item and multiply it by 85%. And he created an array with 5 items for the second day. Then day 3, he had to take, okay, wait a minute. Okay, this one probably, I see. No, you did it correctly because you did day 2, read in day 2. So he read the item that he had created here in and then multiplied it by 85%. For item in day 1, print. So at the end, he just printed them all out through the 3 arrays. Okay, so let's run this. Oh, I could have probably taken that one. Oh, now it could be because I'm on my Mac. Sometimes that's probably this. No such file or directory. It may not like that. Oh, I know what it is. I don't have that file in that directory where this is. Let me fix that. It's over here. Oops, let me see if it'll let me do it that way. Okay, come on, paste. Okay, now it should be in there. T-shirt. Put it. I'm hoping it, yeah, there it is. T-shirt prices. Okay, so, oh, wait a minute. I probably need to put that in your folder, which was P3 or BW first. Let's see. BW, P3. Okay, so let me just paste it here and then it should work. All right, so here if we go ahead and run this one. There we go. Very nice. He even has a heading coming out that shows, oh wait, let's see. On day 2, after 50% discount, there's off 5. So instead of printing the day 1, day 2, and day 3 together, you printed all the original prices, and then the day 2 prices, and then the day 3 prices. Okay, that's a different way to do it, but that worked. That because you did what I told you to do. It might be a little more coding than the way I did it, but if you understand that and that worked good for you, most people don't understand arrays enough that they want to do that many arrays. So you did a good job, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else want to look at theirs? Who else do I have up there now? Let's see. John. Okay, Aaron left. Julia, did you get one where my Mac had a problem with the yoga studio.txt file, so I had to, oh, that's okay, John. I had some other people do that on that was the problem that they did the encoding on and then it worked, like what Brian did on that one. If you go in where that apostrophe was on the yoga studio.txt file, you either can take the apostrophe out, or if you put that encoding UTF-8, then that file would work. So that's what the problem was. It was not looking at it as the correct characters, or it didn't like that apostrophe in there. Okay, anybody else? What I think I'm going to do for tonight, because I'll probably go over most of the things in Chapter 6 again on Tuesday, or I'll highlight it because we'll go over the problem that was in there and some of the things, because what the modular programming, they only gave us that one example, and so I want to take some other problems on Tuesday to make sure that you understand importing programs into, or short pieces of code that are reusable. It's similar to functions, but functions are contained right within your program, whereas modules are imported in, which you can import functions in also. Okay, so this will be tomorrow. I'll have the test, and you've either going to take it on Thursday at 9:30 or tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock, and I'll try to show up a little early. Trying to think what is going on tomorrow night, that I can get here any early or not, but I'll try to do that. And what I want you to remember is that I will have the 10-point quiz up for Chapter 6, probably be Saturday. It might be available on Friday, and it'll be available until midnight Monday night. And then on Tuesday, I'll finish lecturing over 6, and we'll do some sample problems. And I will, hopefully, that one time, the last 2 lectures, I'll make sure these record. I haven't known to go back and see if it's still recording, and I'll do that next week. So if everybody's done, if you don't have any questions, then I'll go ahead and end the broadcast. And everybody stay safe tonight. Hopefully we don't get the problems that we had last 2 weeks ago Wednesday. I'm in Moore, but I wasn't in the area where the tornado hit. I'm a little west of that. So anyway, we'll hope that won't happen tonight for anybody. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Anybody have anything they need to ask me? All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast.